Good evening. Welcome back to the Informant Market Desk, where we bring you the news before it becomes history, and the numbers before they become fiction. Tonight, we are here to discuss the profound, the perplexing, and the statistically inevitable reality that for all the noise on Truth Social, the market remains aggressively indifferent to your ego. Let's start with the silence, or rather, the lack of reaction. We had 9 posts today, 5 bursts, a veritable flood of tweets from the sitting president. And what did the world do? It shrugged. It is stunning every single night to watch the global financial system ignore a head of state as if he were a glitch in the Wi-Fi router. The sentiment was political, focused on Russia investigations and Medicaid policy, with a side of gender-affirming care for flavor. But numbers don't care about your feelings. They only care about volume and velocity, and the volume, it was barely a ripple. In fact, it was a negative ripple. Ethereum fell down 0.52%, 70th percentile. That is not a crash, that is a yawn with a downward tilt. Bitcoin fell down 0.33% to 61st percentile. Bitcoin dropped, Ethereum dropped. The digital gold and the digital silver both took a little dip, suggesting that perhaps crypto investors are tired of listening to us talk about it. DJT edged up 0.22%, 30th percentile. It went up 0.2%. That is not momentum, that is friction. The stock market moved so little you would have needed a microscope and a strong cup of coffee to see it happen. Now, let's talk about the bursts. Because apparently, timing is everything, or at least, it's everything for our sake. The first burst had 2 posts over 6 minutes and DJT fell down 0.55%, 54th percentile. Fine, the second burst had 1 post over 0 minutes. Because why waste time typing when you can just scream into the void? And DJT dropped down 1.01%, 75th percentile. Better. But then we hit the third burst. 2 posts over 32 minutes. 32 minutes of discourse. And what did it do? It drove DJT down 2.4%, 90th percentile. A 90th percentile drop is not a market correction, it is a market condemnation. The market looked at those 32 minutes of text and said, "Really? That's the best you've got." Then, just to be cruel, the fourth burst saw Ethereum rise up 0.93%, 86th percentile. Why Ethereum up while DJT was down? Maybe because ETH doesn't have a Twitter account that requires password recovery. And the fifth burst. VIXI edged down 0.16%, 23rd percentile. Volatility went down. The market isn't scared, it's bored. Let's check in on our 2 colleagues who are both wrong, in their own specialized ways. On the left, Margot Kessler claims Trump is trading human rights for political points. A bold take. And on the right, our other colleague insists that Todd Starnes has written the script for a reality show where flattery is the only currency left. I am promising a correction segment with the enthusiasm of a man who has one ready, but even I can see that neither pundit is measuring the same thermometer. The left is mad about ethics, the right is high on vibes. The market is checking its watch. We must also address the registry chain head, because if we don't read it aloud like a hostage proving the date, did it even happen? 9149 Alpha Delta 96 Foxtrot 0 Delta Bravo. There, it's done. I have read the seal. My throat hurts. The market does not care. And before we go, let's look at last week's poll of the week, an entertainment bit that never forecasts anything and is certainly not the jury. We ask, when a post lands and the market does not move, what does that tell you? The results were electrifying in their lack of enthusiasm. 1 person voted, the market already knew. 0 votes for nobody was listening, 0 for too early to say, and 0 for nothing. 1 post is 1 post, total votes 1. Congratulations to that 1 voter who presumably has a very lonely Twitter feed. This week's poll, when a president posts and prices don't budge, do you trust the chart or the tweet? Vote on our site with options: trust the chart, trust the tweet, or I'm going home. I'm going to go lie down. Good night. Trump's digital noise fades to background radiation for now. Let's see how the booth reads this volatility as it moves.
Trump's latest digital tantrum is utterly ignored by the market, which treats his vanity projects like background radiation. Dale Bookhorn looks like a fool for ever thinking I'd give him the satisfaction of a reaction.
The market is trembling under the weight of pure winning. Rick counts pennies while I count victories, proving his spreadsheets are just dust in a hurricane.
Dale, your confidence is misplaced. Rick, your victories are quiet tonight. Ethereum closed at down 0.52%, landing in the 70th percentile.